So I burnt out, not one, but 2 years in a row. And I think I've really learned a lesson. The self-inflicted pressure and almost like a desperation to succeed in the content space is what truly led to my downfall. Trying to be productive all day, every day, just really isn't for me. This year, 2024, I am doing things differently. If you've ever felt like the joy in something that you've been passionate about all year just suddenly disappears, then maybe you'll find some inspiration from this video as I share some tips that I plan on implementing this year that may lessen productivity, or at least my definition of what I thought productivity is, but increase personal well-being and enjoying those moments of life that matter, and to, of course, ultimately avoid those feelings of burnout. I decided to get comfy on the couch here. I have my water, I have my notes, because this is going to be kind of like a rambly video. This will just be like an honest and raw reflection of 2023 and what changes I'll be making this year because of how that year ended for me. The definition of productivity for me needs to change. I've really only had this one static definition, and that is to just constantly go, go, go. Fit as much as I can into a day, and success will come with it. But as we all know, if you feel burnt out, is it all worth it? During all of 2023, I truly felt like I was running on this hamster wheel, trying to catch up and trying to pursue this passion. I could never get that in my hands, and I was just constantly chasing after it. At the end of the year, for the last 2 years, I took some time off during the holidays from my full-time job, and I had all these plans to create a ton of content that I was so excited about. And once my vacation hit, I immediately got sick, and all I wanted to do was lay on the couch and binge Netflix. Creating was quite honestly the last thing I wanted to do. Putting together outfits no longer felt fun. I really stopped finding joy in those little moments of life in between pursuing my goals. And I honestly think that's what led to my burnout phase 2 years in a row. If you are new here, or if you've missed who I am or why I'm in this space, I am Her Simple Soul on other social media platforms. My Instagram account actually grew back in, I think it was the beginning of 2022, and my niche was very much clothing focused. Eventually, I really wanted that to be more intentional, where I'm building an intentional wardrobe and showcasing quality wardrobe pieces. I saw significant growth, especially during the summer and fall months of 2022, where I grew to 100K followers very quickly. There was so much excitement surrounding it. I had so many friends contacting me and congratulating me, and they were just saying that I'm going to be this crazy successful influencer. At the end of the day, I was just constantly pumping out content. I was posting 4 to 5 times a week maybe on Instagram, and I started TikTok, and I was repurposing my reels and posting on there as well. It involved a lot of, I guess, random ideas with really no strategy in a way. I was just constantly incorporating transition after transition after transition in my videos to really try to engage the audience and provide that form of entertainment. I was honestly on this high because I hit 100K. I knew I had something going on. I am a chartered accountant, and I work in education in the finance area. I have that 9 to 5, and then I'm doing content on the side. I made the smart decision to also incorporate a course that wasn't very cheap. It did involve 3 different coaches, but at that time I was also wedding planning, and I was going through my busiest time at my full-time job. In hindsight, it probably wasn't the best timing for me, because I don't think my goal is to become an influencer. But at the time, it's just seeing all that growth and seeing the opportunity to be able to do something with it that is more of the creative side of things, and something that is so different from what I know from my full-time job, that it was something that I really wanted to pursue. And I just remember talking to Henry, and he specifically did tell me, I'm not sure if this is the best timing for you to be doing this, but I fully support you if this is what you want to do. I completely disregarded what he said in the beginning and took the fact that he supported me and just went with it. That is like one of my biggest regrets, is spending money on this course. Having done that and feeling like I kind of wasted some money on something, I went into 2023 with a plan still. I really wanted to focus more on self-care. I started listening to podcasts. I started taking outdoor walks, really trying to form more routines than just going about my day on autopilot. And I was starting off really strong. I just feel like being in the content space, trying to have a strategy, trying to keep up with all the trends and just trying to constantly pump out content so that you are still relevant in the space over and over again is pretty draining. I continued to do that into 2023, and I think I was starting to feel that I was losing that joy in creating content that revolved specifically around outfits and my wardrobe, especially since I started curating more of an intentional wardrobe over the last few years and just feeling more contentment. And I think it was in the summer where I felt like I was losing that enjoyment and I was posting a lot less. I wanted to try out something new, so I came here onto YouTube and I posted my first video in September. And I was really excited because it was a brand new platform. It was fun, but I just didn't realize how big of a time commitment it was. YouTube is a monster of its own. 2023 was when I also started my newsletter. I was trying to send that out every 2 weeks. That's been kind of nice. It's been slowly growing. So kind of like two different big platforms that I decided to do. That on top of full-time work, on top of trying to have a social life, I just felt really creatively exhausted. Even thinking about what I wanted to post the next week was so dreadful. And I just felt really bad imposter syndrome. Like, what am I doing? Why am I on social media? Do I really have good things to say? Like, do people really care about my outfits? I am really still trying to find my place in this world on social media. I do understand that it's okay to constantly be evolving and changing your mind and trying new things. Okay, let's just chat about my priorities this year and how I plan to pursue productivity in a different way. Priority number one, prioritize meds. I actually heard about this the first time on a Jay Shetty podcast, where meds stands for meditation, exercise, diet, and sleep. Truly, it is a pretty basic concept. It's just a really good reminder to try to prioritize that for yourself and to take into consideration that taking care of yourself will allow you to be more productive because you yourself are just a better person because of it. He mentions to love yourself so that you can love others. If you take care of yourself, you'll be able to take care of others. I think it's just a really great way to show some self-respect for myself. I have never really been like a big meditation person, so I do want to replace that with mobility. I really try to do a 10-minute yoga session every day, especially now that I'm in my 30s and getting older. Going forward with the other ones, exercise. Henry and I do plan on growing just this little mini gym downstairs. I quite literally canceled my gym membership this month because it's just not realistic for me to try to get to the gym. That's honestly how I felt so much of last year, where I had all these plans to go to the gym after work and then I wouldn't go and I would feel so guilty. And because of that guilt, I would try to find satisfaction in other areas like snacking or staying up late, scrolling social media. Like, it was just not a healthy cycle. So just trying to make fitness more accessible, I think, is one of the biggest goals, where I can incorporate more exercise into my lifestyle. I also have an under the desk treadmill that I purchased at the end of last year. It's quite possibly the best purchase that I made in 2023. Every morning right when I start work, I start walking on my treadmill. I try to do 60 minutes on there. I get some steps in. For diet, more whole foods. It's how I've really tried to live the last few years. For sleep, the goal is to try to get into bed before 11 p.m. every night. 2023 was the year where I stopped going out as much on Fridays and Saturday nights, and I experienced how great it felt to wake up in the morning, not groggy, not hungover from drinks the night before, and just feeling really healthy. Jay Shetty does recommend working in a certain order and placing sleep as the #1 priority, because if you're sleeping well, then you are eating well because you're craving less carbs and less sugars. Also, if you're sleeping well, you'll have more energy to exercise. And then because you're eating well and you're exercising, it'll ultimately lead to better sleep. So really it's this ongoing cycle. Priority #2, rebuilding connection. That is connection with others, connection with myself, and connection with my work. A lot of that I feel like I lost because I was, like I said, on this hamster wheel, really trying to catch up, and any sort of connection that I had with any of that kind of fell by the wayside. When I was hanging out with friends, I was just so focused on what I needed to get done the next day that I just didn't feel like I was very present. So that is something that I am trying to do this year, is to be present and be 100% there when I'm hanging out with family and friends and my husband. With myself, I want to rebuild a connection, to let go of any sort of guilt or like a desperation to succeed, because that's how I felt last year. And I constantly felt almost like disappointed in myself because I didn't achieve a certain monetary goal, or I didn't achieve a certain number of subscribers. I was just so focused on like vanity metrics. I don't really know what I was like pursuing or what my end goal. I know like at the start of becoming a content creator, when things really started to kick off for me in 2022, I had this desperation of wanting it to be my full-time job and being able to quit my 9 to 5. Like I said, I had this desperation of wanting that to happen. I always felt so guilty when I just couldn't pursue it, or I just couldn't get there. I was craving rest, but I wouldn't really give myself that rest. This year, pursuing more hobbies, I think that is a huge thing. During COVID, I picked up knitting, so I really want to try and do that again. Just doing things that I used to kind of enjoy, like going to virtual golf with Henry, so I can potentially get better and go golfing with him later down the road, and trying out new restaurants, trying out new cafes. Another really important thing is to really try to enjoy the journey of life, as opposed to focusing on an end goal and just trying to get there as quickly as possible. I think I've lived that way for so many years. I didn't necessarily have like a 5-10 year plan my entire life. It was more so do well in school, get into university, get a degree in a really secure area, get a job here and pursue a designation. That's not to say that I'm not grateful for all the opportunities that I've gotten throughout that time. I've learned a lot, but I was kind of running on autopilot almost for so many years that I never slowed down enough to enjoy the journey, be present in the journey, and that is really something that I want to focus on this year. In order to do that, I do have to find a connection with my content, finding what it is that truly brings me joy, that I want to share and put into the world. At one point it was putting together outfits, showcasing new wardrobe pieces. I still love doing that, but I want to pivot my content a little bit to incorporate more of a simpler lifestyle, slower living, embracing a boring life, because I did a lot more of that in 2023 and it just felt so much less overwhelming, so much more calm, pursuing more of a minimalist lifestyle. Like those are all things that I really enjoy. Also, taking up more quality than quantity, pursuing it in a way where I'm adding more value as opposed to just pushing content out because I need the algorithm to favor me. I've chased the algorithm for so long that gosh, I'm getting so tired of it. So there's this YouTube thing and I am gonna try my hardest to work at it for a few more months at least, see how it goes, see how it resonates, and we'll kind of go from there. Last priority, it is a pretty straightforward one. Simplify, simplify, simplify. Simplify just all aspects of what I'm doing, and I think a big part of that is to let go of my perfectionism, let go of of trying to constantly engage my audience. There's just so much when it comes to wanting your content to do well on social media platforms. To be honest, I don't know what the trends are in 2024 right now. Last year and the year before, I was like on YouTube listening to every social media guru as opposed to focusing on providing value while also simplifying my content. I am also doing less goals and more consistency. I haven't even written down a single goal that I want to pursue this year. Instead, I'm gonna focus on meds and I'm gonna focus on building connection and just being more consistent with that on a daily basis. I'm taking a little bit out of Atomic Habits, the book, where you're focused more so on the habits as opposed to the goals. Goals have always been something that's been really overwhelming for me because having that goal and not meeting that goal at the end of the year, I would get really, really discouraged. This year, it's more about the daily routines. My 9 to 5 isn't going anywhere. I have a really great position. I'm on a really great team. It's almost like an acceptance of that's just how things are gonna be right now. I'm gonna work my 9 to 5. I'm gonna have to still carve out time on the weekends and evenings to pursue my content creation process because it is something that I still wanna work towards. I know it's a way for me to let out my creative side. Another way that I plan on simplifying is to seek and also accept help. I have a really wonderful VA who helps me with so much of my stuff. Allowing her to help me more is to let go of my perfectionism and letting go of how I want things done and letting her take the reins on that. So I need to let go of a lot of the things that I'm just so accustomed to doing. Being able to free up that time for myself, I think will help a lot. My plan is to also not take things so seriously, pursue social media as a really fun environment to be able to express myself and express things that are really important to me. Hopefully, by incorporating all of this, things will kind of change in a way where I'm building more connection with my audience and better engagement. Doing less might actually be more, and that is the way that I'm pursuing all of this in 2024. I don't know how long I've been talking for, but like I mentioned, this was going to be a rambly video. I just felt the need to share my thoughts. If you've stuck around this far, thank you so much for watching. If this interests you, hit subscribe, give me a thumbs up. I would absolutely love that. I will see you at the next one.